Greetings, friends around the world, and welcome. This is Caravan to Midnight, and world's turning. Everything's not on fire. I looked out the window today and saw, okay, still holding together pretty well, so we're good so far. There's a lot of stuff cooking in the news today. You know, stuff like Apple having to pay $38 billion in repatriation tax. Yeah, they're coming back, right? So they're planning a new U.S. campus. Oh, let's see. Flake compares Mr. Trump's actions to those of Joseph Stalin. He delivered it to a near-empty chamber because Flake has done flaked and, in fact, is a flake. I suppose he's striving for relevance, but there isn't any for you, Mr. Flake. It's gone. It's gone. Let's see. CNN predicts that Mr. Trump will have a heart attack in 3 to 5 years. I predict CNN will be out of business in 3 to 5 years. And let's see. Terrorists could use Teslas to kill us. Facebook and Google tell Congress they're fighting extremist content with counter propaganda. I think we should just run them all out of business and begin again. Do you know how much trouble we've had with Apple? You can't believe it. It made me, it prompted me to ask the question, are those people messing with us? It's like, no, it's not that they're messing with us. They're just messing with everything because they want to sell a new product. I had this program, I think I told you this before, just for recording voiceovers on. It's excellent. You can do whatever sample rate you want. You can send a WAV file, an AIFF, and all this. But the moment that I hit, and most everybody that I send things to, just will take a high-resolution MP3. Well, I made the mistake of clicking the update button on this Mac because I tried to use PC before, but there's all this stuff about, there are all these insane programs and interface. I just thought I'm just going to get a Mac and a I don't know, an M-Box or an Apogee or something and just go with that. And the guy at Guitar Center said, you're going to be a happy man because this PC thing's crazy. I don't want Pro Tools. I don't need Logic, just something simple. Well, I hit the update button. The MP3 option is gone. Now it's M4A. And you'll get 320 resolution. You get like 254, which only the neighbor's poodle can tell the difference. But the point is, they want you to buy new stuff, which is why our app didn't work at all on some of the older phones. Oh, if you have a brand new $1,000 X phone, then sure, it works perfectly. But on some of the older ones, no. So we've gone round and round with these people for weeks and actually months. And we're getting our way. You know, I'll say it again. As long as Steve Jobs was running things, the outfit ran right. Now that Steve's gone, well, Apple's, as far as I'm concerned, their reputation is torn up from the floor up, okay? Tore up from the floor up. I heard a sound. I heard a dog. Who could it be? I know who it is. It's Mike Kerr. Hey, how you?
Hey, John. I apologize for that. The dog hasn't barked all day, and then just does that. It's nice to see you. Good to be on the show here with you.
Well, the dog's acting like your agent.
The dog is my
keeping you. Well, what does the guy mean by making you wait like this?
Well, the dog is the watchman. That's the thing. I mean, everyone wants to know who is here the watchman. The dog is. The dog's the watchman.
Yes, it's the watch beast. Well, say it's that time of year again, or it's about to be.
It is, John, and we're looking forward to it. We're going to be back in Dallas at the Grapevine, in Grapevine actually, at the Hilton DFW Executive Lakes Conference Center and Hotel. We've been there 2 years in the past. You've been with us both times there, and you'll be back with us again this time. And we're really excited this year. We have an incredible lineup. At the top of the lineup Saturday night will be Mr. Henry Groover. He does not speak much in the United States. I don't know how much more speaking he'll do after Dallas, period. But he's an amazing man, the original prayer walker. And you know what we're doing this year, John, is we're really trying to equip the people who come. We're trying to really activate them in their faith and their actions as they move out. You know, you say every day, and we look at the news, so much craziness is going on in the world. But as you said at the beginning, we're all still here. Now what do we do?
Yeah.
That's the question. And we're trying to give people a chance to find out, what do you do? How do you rely upon Jesus? How do you act with other people? I mean, this whole Me Too thing, if people acted by a biblical perspective, there never would have been a Me Too. And I know that that's an impossibility, but still, if you think about it, if we can get back to the basics of decency in our world, things will start to shape up again for us. And I know there's hope. And if you come to the Hear the Watchman conference in Dallas, Texas, we're going to equip you with the tools that will take you through, not just spiritually, but physically as well.
Mike, I think one of the problems is as I see it, at least, is that people think that if you live your life in a manner that closely parallels the life of Lord Jesus, and you go by those guidelines, those rules, and those commandments, which I remind people, those are not the 10 suggestions or the 10 ideas. Those are the 10 commandments. Now, that's Old Testament, but Jesus said, no, you roll with those 10 commandments. Those are, I'm paraphrasing the Lord a little bit here. I don't think he said you roll with them, but you know what I mean. Go by those 10 commandments. But I think people have the idea that if you live a biblically centered life, you're not going to have any fun. You're going to wear frumpy clothes, and you're never going to say an off-color word. You're never going to share a joke. You're not going to have any fun. You won't ever be able to get a buzz on, and you'll just walk around all prim and proper and being all self-righteous and lording your self-righteousness over other people. And it's just not true. None of that is true, but that's what so many people think is going to happen to them. They think they're going to turn into Mormon wives without the actual conjugal interaction and the male variety of that. Just frumpy, keep your mouth shut, do your work, and it's a good day to work, so go to work and don't do anything else. Do not smile, do not laugh. I don't know how Christianity got that reputation as being boring. It's not boring,
No, not at all. And let's take a look at this. If you look at just my life prior to being saved, let's see how that worked out. Well, it started out great. I worked on Wall Street, got sent all over the world to trade currency for a major brokerage firm, went into commercial real estate, made a ton of money, and became greedy, me. And eventually it all got taken away. I ended up homeless on the streets. I ended up running with a motorcycle gang, laundering money. I went to jail for a year of my life. That's where I was saved, on the floor of a jailroom cell. And, so my life now is phenomenal. I have more fun now when we go to the conference and we meet you and all the other speakers and all of the people that come and attend the conference. It's like one of the best parties I've ever been to. It really.
I got to tell you, and I'm not saying this just because you're on right now, but I'm serious. It's my favorite conference. Of all the conferences that I go to, and I do go to a few of them, this is the one I like the best. It's just got the best vibe, and people are sweet, they're friendly, and they're just real. It's almost as though it gives me the idea. I mean, I'm not saying that this is how it is. I'm saying, but I get the idea sometimes that they feel comfortable enough there to actually be themselves.
Well, I think you're right. And I'm going to butcher this quote right now.
Okay, I do it all the time.
And maybe you can get it for me, because I'm sure you know it. C.S. Lewis said that a true friendship is when two people meet and they say to one another, "I thought I was the only one that thought that way."
Yeah.
And that's what happens at the Hear the Watchman conferences, is that like-minded people come together. And it's not, you've been to them, it's not a Bible thumping, it's not like that. It's current information, current prophecy information. There's information from L.A. Marzulli, and this year he's going to be bringing some really, really breaking information to the conference. But it's all done in the spirit of like this one gigantic family reunion where you actually like all your family members.
Yeah, it's true. And nobody pulls out their snake. Nobody's playing past the guy or past the girl, and laying hands on, and people go into a catatonic seizure and fall out. Look, people react to being saved differently, but I don't see charismatic type stuff ever at the Watchman Conference.
No.
I just don't. And I like it. I actually a lot of times, when you got a conference coming up, it's like, at a conference coming up, I look forward to going to this. It's cool. There are cool people there, and there's good food. And it's a nice facility, and the sound system is great, and the speakers are great, and it's a good time. I think everybody should come who can.
It is. And it's, John, it truly is a life-changing experience for people. I mean, we have people from all over the world who show up to this conference. Now, the majority of the people at the Dallas conference will, of course, be from the great state of Texas.
Yeah.
But we have people this year from the Netherlands, a whole group of people from the UK coming, lots of people from Canada coming, just all over, all walks of life. And when they're in that room together, it's just one big family. And the breakthrough that happens for people, where you're right. I mean, there's a lot of us that are Christians who feel like, gosh, I don't want to tell anyone I'm a Christian because they'll think I'm like, they'll just think I don't have any fun. You're right.
You're from planet boring.
Yeah, it couldn't be farther from the truth. I mean, I'll tell you, I wasn't having any fun when I was living on the streets. Now, that was 25 years ago. And I certainly wasn't having any fun when I was in jail. Of course, that was a long time ago. Yeah. But when I turned my life over to Christ, everything changed for me. Now, it was a long journey back, and it wasn't a perfect journey. And I don't live a perfect life today. Stuff happens, right? I have problems just like everybody else has problems. Things happen in your life. But I have something to fall back on and rely upon, where I can always say to myself, and I do this, I'm sure you do, I just say, you know what, this is all too much for me. It's on you, God. You go ahead and take it over. And when that happens, everything just seems to fall into its perfect place. But it's when I'm fighting and running and gunning and doing all that stuff, that's when it's difficult. And that's the thing that happens at Hear the Watchman is people hear stuff. People at this Hear the Watchman will hear my testimony. We have breakout groups, very intensive breakout groups where we'll be teaching and talking with people. One of the highlights of that is Dr. Colbert. Dr. Colbert has been like on every station. His wife is Mary Colbert. Dr. Colbert's going to do a breakout session on how to maintain your health without going to big pharma. I injured myself last year. I slipped on the ice and almost broke my back. And, I went to the doctor and all they wanted to do was hand me another prescription. And I told them, I said, no, I've been down that road. I'm not going down that road again. And they said, no, but you have to take this medicine. And I was like, no, I don't. So I just, I took some homeopathic medicine and I just exercised and walked and took it slow and I got better. If I had taken those pills, I might not be talking to you today. Dr. Colbert will show people how to do exactly what I did. We've just got Ray Gano is going to be there. He's going to talk about some of the demonic attacks about all of us in a breakout session. Pastor Paul Begley is going to be there. It just goes on. L.A. Marzulli, Michael Boldea, Messianic Rabbi Zeb Parat. And, I know you've interviewed Zeb. He's coming over from Israel, John. And this guy is in the streets in Israel converting Jews to Christianity. I mean, in the streets. I mean, he's had rocks thrown at him, bottles thrown at him. He's been arrested. I mean, it's insane.
No, I was waiting on you.
Oh, yeah. No, it's an amazing thing. And I don't mean to be doing all the talking here, brother, but I just get so excited about this, and what I want your listeners to know is if you go to our website, hearthewatchmen.com, and you want to purchase a ticket, and this is Caravan has the only promo code or discount code of this kind. Go to that website, purchase your ticket, and you'll get $25 off any of the tickets that are on our website. And we just so much want you to be there. We just announced today our streaming feature. And if you use the code CTM20 for the CTM25 for the tickets, you'll get the $25 off. If you use the code CTM25 for the live stream, you'll get 25% off of that purchase, because we want to bring the Caravan family together. My wife Jeannie and I are dear friends with you and your wife, and we have some special things this year that we want to do with the Caravanners to really help feed them with not only the spiritual knowledge, but that practical knowledge out there that needs to be delivered.
Well, I'd say we could use it. Something, you know, I don't like to just beat the same old drum until the thing is just stupid and broken and it doesn't even look like a drum anymore. But there's been a bunch of stuff out there that's been wrong. But I got to tell you, I think that it seems to me that people are praying a lot more. It seems to me that a huge number of people are going, I think we've been doing this wrong. I think we probably should go back and try to follow the rules of the one that sent us here. And I mean, look what happened. I mean, and people say, oh, you think that God really had a hand in Donald Trump becoming president? Absolutely, I think he had a hand in Donald Trump becoming president. I say again, at midnight, I was like, I prayed about it. And the message, well, I can never repeat his exact words, but the message was, don't worry, I've got this. And I'm like, Lord, I implore you, don't let this criminal Hillary Clinton win this election. This is not going to end well. In fact, it may end early and not well. Yeah. Relax, I got this. And I just felt a little, you know, about an hour later, you know, and it's like, calm down, it'll be fine. I went to bed at a little after midnight, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, I left the TV sound up a little bit where I could hear if something good happened. And sure enough, about 2 o'clock, I heard Donald Trump is the next president of the United States. And it was just like, thank you, Lord. And look at these people run. These people can make all the excuses that they want to. Well, I was just, like, shut up. We know what you were doing. Don't explain. We got you sorted out. We really do. Are you judging me on your behavior? Yes, absolutely. That's what we have to do. It's called discernment, okay? And you are definitely not part of the crew that I want or we want to run with. So look at these media people just going, oh, well, I am terrible. And these politicians go, they're just, I mean, they're just bubbling in their spit. They're throwing up on themselves. They're becoming incontinent right on national TV. I love it. It's about time that these people were revealed to be the practitioners of the stuff that they've been practicing and foisting on the public, and we're all over it. I see things changing, and I think it's because Father heard our prayers and went, okay.
Well, I couldn't, John, I couldn't agree with you more. I like you was praying that night, and I was up the entire night. I wanted to go to sleep. I just couldn't go to sleep. It was like the most incredible thing I'd ever witnessed. And what amazes me now about the media is look at the attacks that they throw at him. I mean, this guy on CNN, I loved what you said about CNN. You know, they're saying that Donald Trump will have a heart attack and be dead within 2 or 3 years. And I agree with you. I think they'll be dead in 2 or 3 years. And I think that Dr. San, whatever Gupta guy that made that claim, I think he should have his medical license taken away. I mean, it's ridiculous. He can look at somebody on TV. He's probably never met the guy. He certainly has never examined Donald Trump, you know. And I just look at the depths that they will go to. They trash him constantly.
Oh, yeah.
For having, because his wife is pretty or his daughters are pretty. Well, you know, that's stooping pretty low, and you're really digging if you're gonna try and drag someone down because of that. I mean, they want Eleanor Roosevelt. I mean, what do they want? You know, I mean, it's just, I'm just aghast. But I do believe, like you believe, I think that the better part of America is going back to prayer. Our president admits that he prays. He will mention Christ in publicly. He made no bones about celebrating Christmas. You know, it's time to have a leader in our country, like the one we have now, who will take us down the path and say, I'm like doing the walk, but someone else has got this. God has got this thing. And I find it very refreshing, and it brings a lot of hope. It just truly brings a lot of hope to all of us. And it's so wonderful what you do, John, because you tell the truth. I mean, what a novel concept, right? How about we just tell the truth? You know, so I'm excited like you are.
Well, you know, I mean, I appreciate your saying that. I tell the truth. I'm not claiming to be the oracle, but I mean, I do my very best to tell the truth, and I try to just keep it real with people. And if I pop off about something, for example, when Mr. Trump asks the question, if he really did, which apparently nobody but one Democrat heard this, he really says, why are we bringing all these people from these poop hole countries? I think that's a very good question. I don't have a problem with that. Or how could you say that the people of Haiti are poop holes? He didn't say the people of Haiti were poop holes, you moron. He said Haiti's a poop hole. In fact, he didn't even name the place. You are the one who is assuming that he means, well, he must be talking about places where people of color come from. It's like, I got an idea. Why don't we airdrop you into one of these places, and let's see if you can make it 2 hours before they kill you. But the thing about it is, Mike, they really don't get it. They just don't get it. I mean, the people who destroyed South Africa,
no,
led by George Soros, bleeding heart, dumbass liberals who decided that, well, it'll be okay. And they're so stupid, they won't even examine the possibility, let alone embrace the reality that your sympathy with these people is perceived as weakness and makes them want to kill you even more. It's just the way it is. Folks, if you don't believe me and you feel like playing death sport, go over there and give it a shot. Start spreading some liberal ideas around. I don't know. I know. Yeah, I do. Johannesburg. You'll last about 13.6 minutes and you'll be dead. And guess what? No one will do anything about it. No one will do anything about it. And here's the other part. If someone is attacking you with the machete or whatever they got, and you get over on them, you grab a guitar out of the musician's hand, the minstrel's hand over there, and bash them and you whack them out, you're going to jail. You don't have any self-defense because, well, you're not African. And even if you are, I mean, Brendy's more African than any of the so-called African Americans over here. These people know nothing about Africa. She actually knows about Africa, you know what I mean? That's why I say with pride, we are an African-American couple. Well, that paper locks people too, big time. Really does. But I digress. But yeah, I mean, these ridiculous ideas, they, Satan's the father of lies. And I think some of these people are just flat possessed. They say openly, well, I'm an atheist, or I'm agnostic, or no, I'm not a Christian. No, I despise Christians. What did you say? I said I despise Christians. I mean, did somebody stick a coat hanger in your ear when you were a baby, or what's the matter with you? And they can't tell you. They won't tell you. They're just mean-spirited, and they and so many of them operate on lies. Look at this news media; it's operated on lies for at least 20 years, visibly lying about stuff, and they're getting worse. CNN and MSNBC and all of this. It's just I can't understand, Mike, how they are allowed to remain in business just based on what they say, let alone any actual collusion they might have between, Lord only knows who, but particularly the security services, and they're following the narrative that they're told to follow. So now I've inadvertently pulled you into my jackpot.
No, I am all good with that, John. And I got to tell you, you and I think alike. And what it is, in my opinion, first of all, if you and I did or said what some of these people have done or said, we'd be chased out of town. We'd be locked up. Who knows what would happen? I can tell you, in my little town, if I bring up the name Bernie Sanders, I mean, I could get shot. They'd just run me out of town. But I think that where we're going with all of this is that it's time for people to stop the practice of contempt prior to investigation. It's time for people to really look into things and dig for the truth before they make a decision. And, we've battled that with Hear the Watchman, John. I mean, we had people went under incredible attacks. You remember that first year.
Oh, yes.
And it's like, okay, fine. Do your investigation, do your digging, look for the truth, and then come to our conferences and be a part of it. Be a part of a movement. The Hear the Watchman conferences are not just they are a great fun get-together with great biblical information and practical information. But it's not just a conference, it's a movement that you take back into your communities and you share with your family and friends, your churches, wherever you go at your work. And we're trying to build a movement across this country of like-minded Christians so we can actually have a voice that is heard and can overcome these liberal media pukes that seem to have the platform 90% of the time.
Yeah, if someone was to say, what's the one thing, Jambi, you could say that a message to the people out there on the left, it's the same message I would deliver to the right as well. Everybody, it's time to grow up. Grow up and act like self-actualized grown-ups and stop this name-calling and this nonsense. Now, you call them pukes, I call them pukes, and worse than that. But really, the only reason that I do it is because I like to give them a dose of their own medicine. They don't hold back in calling names. It's like, well, you call me this, you call me that. It's like, well, you've called plenty of names. What's the matter? You can dish it out, but you can't take it. What people need to do is just grow up, and if they've forgotten, go back and look up the words: duty, responsibility, and service. Look at these words. Words mean something, and we are not at liberty to change those meanings. However, that said, mainstream media, now known as Ministry of Smoke and Mirrors, they try to change the meanings of words. Like, here's a good one, liberal. There's nothing liberal about these people. Liberal is generous, altruistic, empathetic. They're not liberal at all. They're communists. They're anti-God. They're anti-human. From each according to what he's got, and to each according to what he needs. Nothing more and nothing less. Really? That doesn't sound like a formula for growth. That sounds like a formula for stagnation and repression, and it is. So why don't we just call it what it is? It's an attempt at a communist coup. And I would like for everybody, there's no money in it for me. I'm not getting so much as a single red cent for saying this. Go to Netflix or go to YouTube, go to wherever you have to go and see Agenda, Grinding America Down. And you'll see that this communist thing is absolutely real. Communism by any other name stinks just as bad. But people should watch this film because then they'll get an idea what's really happening to them. All right, what's the dates for the conference?
John, it's March 22nd through the 25th. 22nd is registration and fellowship. The conference actually begins on the 23rd at 8 in the morning and concludes that Sunday at about 6 o'clock. And the whole time, John, it's just packed with the love of Jesus and the Holy Spirit. And it's an opportunity for people to come and be able to talk like you and I just talked and have other people not think they're absolutely crazy. And again, the theme of it is iron sharpens iron, where iron sharpens iron. And the time is now for all of us to sharpen one another. And again, to activate and renew your faith in Christ and to get out there and get off the couch and get busy doing something to help our country be a better place to live.
Yeah. If we don't, who will? I wish I could remember who it was. It was a lady who came on the program, and I made the notes. But you would not believe what's next to my desk here. By way of, I need to get organized here. But she said, "We are the people we've been waiting for. We are those people. If just some people would get here that could do something, we are those people. Don't make any mistake about that. We are. And if we don't do it, what do we want to? We want to wait a while longer, see if it gets worse. we don't have to wait and do nothing to find out if it's going to get worse. It will get worse. I want to ask you something. Now, I'm not trying to pull you into a woo-woo jackpot now either. If it's no, then it's no, and it's okay with me. And in fact, I would go first, but I'm afraid that that might put into the minds of the audience. We don't have your average audience, though. I will go first. I have begun to experience, Brandy too, some stuff that can be only labeled as spiritually driven paranormal activity. Are you getting any of that or not really?
Oh, John, we get it all the time. I mean, we've had some incredible experiences, and our feeling about that is that those are the messages that we all need to pay attention to. Those are the messages that we need to share with other people. And there are those who would say, that we're getting these supernatural, that us saying that we're getting these supernatural, let's call them messages, makes us just tinfoil hat nutcases. Go ahead and believe what you want.
Yeah, you got to be kind of careful who you tell these stories to. That's true.
You do. I mean, because they'll just look at you like you're a nut. But
Crazy.
Talk to people like L.A. Marzulli. Talk to people like Messianic Rabbi Zev Parat, Carl Gallows. Talk to some of these people who've been in this for quite a while, and they'll tell you the same thing. If you told Henry Groover that you were getting supernatural messages, he would say to you, well, don't you, are you just now getting them? These guys have been out there and they've been getting them. Now, what do we do with those supernatural messages? And that's what we get into at the Hear the Watchman Conference is, everybody's getting these, but most everybody shuns them away because they are afraid of what people will think of them, what people will think if they share something like that. Look at Mark Taylor. Mark Taylor goes on with his whole Trump prophecy and co-authors a book with Mary Taylor. They're both going to be at the conference.
Yeah.
And when he did that, people thought he was nuts until everything happened exactly the way it happened. And then someone I saw in an interview said, well, how could you have possibly known that? And he said, well, I had a supernatural message. And they looked at him like, yeah, okay, right. Even a broken clock could be right twice a day.
Right.
Come on. There's just too much going on in the world right now, and you look at the things that they are saying. I understand there's a meteorite that's the size of the tallest building in the world that's going to come within 2 million miles of Earth. And NASA is saying that, well, it could be, and it travels at 67,000 miles per hour. And NASA says, well, it could possibly be potentially dangerous.
Oh, you think?
And I read that. I said, a rock traveling at 67,000 miles per hour would be dangerous. Can you give us a little more info on that? Come on, NASA. But, we're looking for people now and leaders now who talk to us in a fashion that brings in the supernatural messages and brings in something for us all to put our hands around. But the main thing, John, is we all need to pray. We need to pray for America. We need to pray for one another. And I must commend you guys for starting your Facebook prayer group that I just noticed. It looks like it's doing great. I think you've only had it up for a week and you got about 1,000 members. Folks, go on that prayer group. You can ask for prayer. People will pray for you. It's just wonderful. And again, I applaud you for doing that. I applaud Caravan for Midnight for having the courage to put that out there.
You mentioned earlier that you were doing all kinds of things with the motorcycle gang and all that. So if you were doing that kind of thing, I'm thinking that this gang might have been somewhat high profile. So we'll just leave it there. But here's the thing. We've all had an opportunity to go to the dark side like that. But if he, with a capital H, wants to use you, and you're willing to let him use you as a soldier, as a commander, as a general, as a cook, as a mechanic, whatever. He'll give you that job, and your life will never be the same. And people, I wish there was. I just tell them, look, just try it. Just try it. Now, if you don't believe, see, one of the things that Jesus asked when somebody come to him to be healed, he'd say, do you believe that I'm able to do this? Now, nobody, according to record, said, well, I don't know, but I figured I'd give you a shot. You're supposed to be kind of a big deal. So no. That's not going to get it. The answer is, yes, I absolutely believe you can do this. And then it'll happen. But you don't go, it says in Scripture also, should not come to me doubting, because if he doubts, he should not expect anything from the Lord. If you doubt, if you doubt your existence, if you think you're in a matrix, if you think this is just a movie, or any of this other nonsense that people put out there, well, then, okay, fine. But I'm telling you, people have been cleared of brain tumors, leukemia, all kinds of stuff. This prayer group is powerful. And you know what? If you go, you know what, I'm going to trick them. There's nothing really wrong with me. I'm going to get them built. That's on you. That's not on them. You're not going to make idiots out of anybody but yourself doing something like that. Not that I think anybody would, but the odds compel that somebody out there would try it. I'm going on odds only. If you believe that prayer can help you, you have an army of prayer, call them prayer warriors, call them prayer soldiers, an army of Christians out there that are willing to pray to the Lord on your behalf to help you. And I'm telling you, this little girl in Austin, she was in bad shape. Caravanners prayed for her. She's in total remission and has gone home. Mike, it happens with such regularity. Oh, that dog's okay. All dogs are welcome. Maybe not that. That dog's yelling at somebody.
Sorry about that, John.
Is that a beagle?
That's a beagle. That's the loud one. The other one's loud. Get him outside.
I'm sorry.
We can do conferences. We can talk like you and I have now, but I can't keep a beagle quiet.
Yeah. That's the best alarm system you could possibly ask for. That dog doesn't bark; it screams. It announces. I like it.
I love talking with you, and I want people to know that, when they come to the conference in Dallas, they can talk with you and I, and we can have these exact same conversations. The thing that I love about your prayer group on Facebook is I look at the people and what they're asking for, and they're sincere and honest prayers. They're asking for prayer to get over an illness. They're asking for prayer because they're going through a difficult time. Maybe a family member died, something happened. They're asking for help, and they're getting it. And that's the power of prayer. And that's the power of prayer that we have to bring back to this country, is getting people together. And that's what happens at the conference. We'll sit around and talk with you. John will talk with you. I'll talk with you. The three of us, the speakers, will talk with you. But the real bottom line is we want you to walk out there armed to pray and to go to John's group and to get on that group and join his prayer group so that we can start this movement and get it going across the country and make America great again.
How about godly again?
I like that term. That term. It's time, don't you think, John?
I really do. And let's not fall. One of my favorite preachers is good Lord, you call his name right this moment. Don't you hate to vapor lock on a name that you know well?
Sage.
Charles Stanley is the name I was trying to reach for. George kept popping up. It's like, no. He said this thing one time about how you'll pray, oh God, please help me, and God helps you, and it's like, okay, don't need God anymore, problem's gone. Like, don't do that. You know what I mean? Once you're in, stay in. Just because the problem's gone, that doesn't mean you don't need God anymore. Okay, there's going to be more problems, so just kind of hold your position there. Once you come to faith, stay there. And if you want to, and if you need some help, back and look. Everybody doubts. Everybody doubts. It's part of human nature. There's no way that free will can exist without it. I'll share one thing with you because I know you got to go. And I've shared this with the Caravanners before. I really did get a message from God the other day. It's been about a month now. I know that sounds ridiculous because people think of the Blues Brothers going, we're on a mission from God. It's like, no Blues Brothers here. I can never repeat exactly what he says to me. I can get close, but I cannot put the words in the order that he put them in. I just can't because they're perfect. And they don't go to your head, they go to your heart. And what he said was, as I created everything, I created the unknown as well as the known. So it is possible for those two things to exist at the same time. It's what you call or know as free will. So there's always going to be that little tugging doubt. But the doubt should not be a threat. It should be an opportunity to not doubt. You should question. What makes you think he doesn't want you to question? And so you do. And then when we get together, we just talk like regular people. We don't tiptoe around these subjects. Some people have had a really, really rough run in life. You know, deaths in the family and disease, sickness, all kinds of infidelities, and every sin in the book. You know, not necessarily everybody was subject to every sin in the book, but half of them. And they came back. They came back to life because they reconnected with the Lord. And so, I'm not going to pull out. I'm not going to pull out my snake here, but you know what I mean. Do that whole charismatic. I'm not doing that. One guy recently did that, and the bloody thing bit him. So you know.
Yeah, I know.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Leave the copperheads and the water mocks and stuff. Leave them in their natural habitat. Do not take them to church. But look, now, any hotel deals going? Any special rates? Anything like that for people that want to stay at the resort?
Oh, absolutely, John. I thank you for bringing that up. We have a group rate at the hotel. It's $99 per night. And John's been to the hotel. John's actually stayed in that hotel. That's a great bargain. $99.
Nice. And the food's good too. It's a real nice facility. Now, what about a live stream for people who just can't make it? They can't get the text.
Go to our website, hearthewatchmen.com. Put in the promo code when you purchase CTM25, and you will get 25% off of your subscription for the live stream. You also get to keep that for 6 months so that you have plenty of time to watch and listen and study to the whole thing. But John, I'm so grateful to what you're doing for the kingdom at Caravan to Midnight. And I promise you folks, come on out to the conference, meet all the speakers, meet myself, and come meet John B. And let's spend some time together and let's get activated in our faith to get through 2018 and make it a banner year.
Absolutely, positively. Well said, my friend. And I look forward to seeing you. We'll be talking. I just want to make sure we got this straight. If you want the live stream, it's CTM 25. But if you want a little discount, 20%, is 20% discount or $20?
No. Okay. So it's both codes are CTM 25. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let's make sure
that's all right.
Both codes are CTM 25. If you go to buy a ticket, you're purchasing a ticket, that'll give you $25 off your ticket.
Gotcha.
If you go to the live stream and you use that code, it will give you 25% off of the price of the live stream, which is only $49. So
that's pretty good, man. It really is.
$49 for 6 months, and you have 13 speakers, and some of them are the most sought after speakers of the prophetic world. Come on.
They are. Yeah, they are.
Make an investment in yourself.
Well, give Jeannie a hug for us, and we'll see you soon. And you're going to come on several more times between now and Watchman Weekend. So I'll catch you on the next one, all right?
All right. God bless you, brother. Thanks for all you're doing.
Right back at you, Mike.
All right, man. Take care.
You too. Mike Kerr, hearthewatchmen.com. That's Watchmen. plural. And, here's the thing. Newsweek got raided and all this stuff is going on, and it's just falling apart for the globalists. And it's so beautiful. And it really is. It's so much fun to watch these people be confronted by the citizenry, the populists that have just had enough. I mean, they are trying to get rid of George Soros in the most definitive manner possible. Hungary is enacting laws to get rid of him. Chris Christie caught trying to evade Newark airport security. Yeah. Oh, look, Al-Qaeda bomb tutorial available as a free download at Barnes & Noble. Sure, that went over big with the security services, unless, of course, you just never know. You just never know who arranged what and why. Let's go back to Soros for just a second. I think you're going to like this. From Reuters, Hungary has actually outlined Stop Soros legislation against immigration. The nationalist government outlined legislation today to tackle illegal immigration that it says is undermining European stability and has been stoked in part by U.S. financier George Soros. George Soros warns that the European Union is on the verge of collapse. I think that's a good thing, and I'm pretty sure most Europeans would agree. Now, they're going to try and undo the Brexit, but I do not believe at this time that they're going to be successful in undoing it. Trey Gowdy, always liked him. Always thought he was a hard-hitting prosecutor, and before he became a member of Congress. And I still think he's a pretty serious backside kicker. Well, this Republican from South Carolina said Wednesday that former White House chief strategist Stephen Bannon has a credibility issue revealed by his House Intelligence Committee testimony this week. Mr. Gowdy, who sits on the committee, warned Special Counsel Robert Mueller's office against trying to build a case around Bannon's testimony because the credibility of the former Trump advisor's statements were in doubt. And this is what Mr. Gowdy told Fox News. I think the only thing dangerous for President Trump or his campaign is credible evidence. This is the same witness that said there was 0% chance that the Russian lawyer wasn't walked up to Trump. And when he was asked what the evidence was, he came up with nothing. This is the same witness that said members of the president's family committed act of treason. So he's got a credibility issue. If they're hinging this entire case on Steve Bannon's credibility, good luck to the prosecution. Ranking Democrat Representative Adam Schiff in California, the scope of this assertion of privilege, if that's what it is breathtaking. It goes well beyond anything we've seen in this investigation. This was effectively a gag order by the White House. No. John Kelly denied that Bannon received instructions in an interview with Fox on Wednesday. No. Kelly said Steve has had very, very little contact with the White House since he left, with the exception of a few phone calls. There's something else going on here. And I think Mueller's investigation is going to completely fall apart. I really do. I don't see it getting any traction whatsoever. Feds are planning a big, massive Northern California sweep of illegal immigrants. The mayor of Oakland is willing to go to jail to protect immigrants. Good, throw him in jail. Put him in there for 90 days. Let him eat those horrible bologna sandwiches and drink that disgusting Kool-Aid or whatever it is they serve there. And after about 3 months of that, he'll be ready to cooperate. Trust me. Wow, this is too stupid not to be true, Cape Town could become the first major city in the world to run out of water after a 90-day warning. 90-day warning. This is from independent.co.uk. The city's mayor, Patricia DeLille, said residents had until 22nd April, till day zero, when authorities have estimated the water supply will be finished if residents do not scale back their usage. The crisis is the result of 3 years of low rainfall and drought, coupled with a growing population and an increase in water consumption. Gee, I wonder why the population levels are rising. Storage levels in dams serving the coastal South African city dropped below 30%, but once the dams reach 13.5% capacity, the municipal water supply will be turned off for all but essential services, such as supplies to hospitals. Ooh, that doesn't sound good at all, does it? Oh boy. California has the most amazing homeless problem. They really do. I guess maybe a lot of people migrate there because at least most of the time, the weather is something they don't have to worry about. Even the winters aren't rough out there at all. Of course, you can get washed away in a mudslide if you're not careful, or, fall into a crevasse that goes only the Lord knows how deep if an earthquake comes up. But that aside, despite the record stock market and unemployment at 4.1%, despite a December jobs miss, the socialist utopia known as California is home to an ever-sprawling tent city estimated to contain over 1,000 residents. And I repeat, California is the poorest state in the union right now. 1 in 5 are designated poor. Skunk Works, Lockheed Skunk Works, one of their executives has hinted that a U.S. hypersonic bomber has already been built. So that's good. We need to get into another war. We'll have a cool plane to send in there. Hopefully this hypersonic aircraft will not be needed. Now, this might be of interest to you also. This is from Zero Hedge also. Trump fires trade war shots. If there's a trade war with China, there is. With Reuters having published the part of its exclusive Trump interview in which the president discusses North Korea and Russia, and in which he said that it's very possible the crisis in North Korea can't be resolved in a peaceful way. Moments ago, Reuters published highlights from the remainder of Mr. Trump's interview, which discloses more from Mr. Trump's trade agenda. Here are the Reuters headlines. Trump says he hopes there won't be a trade war with China, but if there is, there is. Trump says U.S. is considering big damages in probe over alleged China intellectual property theft. And the president also says he may terminate the NAFTA agreement. A lot of people would be unhappy if he did this. He also says any change in China's purchases of U.S. treasuries would not hurt the U.S. economy. He says everybody wants to buy U.S. treasuries. The trade surplus, China trade surplus with U.S. in percentage is 2010 was outrageous, 25%. 2016 looks like about 2.5%, 3% here. 2017, it's up to 10. 2009, it was way down. But then again, we were in some sort of a rather terrible recession, or I don't know what that was. I just know that it lasted for about 5 years. One last little thing here, you might like this. The New California conservative movement declares independence as a first step toward being the 51st state. Yep. They've issued a Declaration of Independence, which would incorporate most of the state's rural counties, while coastal counties from the northern San Francisco Bay Area to the southern tip of LA would remain part of the existing state. Quoted by CBS, founder Paul Preston said, "Well, it's been ungovernable for a long time, high taxes, education, you name it, and we're rated around 48th or 50th from a business climate and standpoint in California. There's something wrong when you have a rural county such as this one, and you go down to Orange County, which is mostly urban, and it has the same set of problems. And it happens because of how the state is being governed and taxed. When a long train of abuses and acts to seize and hold the people's power without legal authority and pursuing invariably the same object that clearly demonstrates a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it's their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. And that's in the New California Declaration of Independence. Paul Preston, you know him. He's out there kicking it. He really is. One of New California's pamphlets reads, "The current state of California has become governed by a tyranny which rivals those stated above. It's time to take action. The duty of the people who are suffering the long train of abuses and usurpations at the hands of a tyrannical government is to abolish and make a new government by the people and for the people, under God, state-splitting process of California. The process begins when the state's legislature first votes to split the state. Once the measure, in the form of a resolution, passes both the California Assembly and Senate, it's submitted to Congress." Wouldn't that be something? New California. Well, all right. I'm for it. I'm absolutely for it. That can be Governor Jerry Attrick Brown's legacy, is state split, because it's largely under his leadership, or whatever you might call it, that it's gone into the toilet. Oh, Lord. Oh, here we go. Another professor. Rob Shimshak wrote this one. Professor says millions of people died because of capitalism. Well, millions more died because of communism. Fool. Anthony Zenkus. What a Zenkus, who teaches graduate social work classes at Columbia University, made the remark and claimed that Hitler was a capitalist. See, this guy, this so-called professor, is such a DA. And I don't mean district attorney. He doesn't understand that Adolf Hitler's party was the National Socialist Workers' Party. Hitler was a capitalist, Campus Reform reported. Odd how you could forget the millions who died under #capitalism, Zenkus told a conservative journalist who disagreed with CNN, calling socialism cool. The 2 world wars, centuries of slavery, and the genocide of Native Americans, but they didn't think that was cool either. Professor Zenkus, odd how you forget the millions who died under capitalism, the 2 world wars, centuries of slavery, and the genocide of Native Americans. Can you believe this little puke? Hitler was a capitalist, continued the professor. Good friends with Henry Ford. Please use the Google machine. It's there for all of us. Yeah, well, I wonder if I could redesign the Google machine and transform it into a high-pressure, high-volume enema syringe and point it at you, Zenkus. Zenkus' faculty profile describes him as a racial justice, climate justice, and income inequality activist. Well, if he's an income inequality activist, that must mean he wants all of us to suffer inequality. Better that than just some people have equality and other people don't. It's better than we all suffer inequality. And if anybody is living well, it's only right that they should be made to live poorly, because not everybody can live well. That's the mentality of a Zenkus. You're such a Zenkus. Former Vice President Al Gore trained him as a climate reality project presenter. And Zenkus has also participated with Occupy Wall Street and Black Lives Matter. You're going to love this one. You ready? U.S. cops protected drug shipments for narco traffickers, say authorities. From Breitbart by Bob Price, federal prosecutors arrested a California deputy sheriff and 2 other law enforcement officials after they allegedly received $250,000 to protect drug shipments. We're cops, and all of our transports make it through, L.A. County Deputy Sheriff Kenneth Collins told an undercover FBI agent. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Central District of California, prosecutors charged Collins and 2 of his conspirators with offering to provide protection to shipments of 45 pounds of cocaine and 13 pounds of methamphetamine. You know, when the, I'm going to say it a bunch of times before I'm through with it. When the cops and the courts are the problem, who are you going to call? Town hall. Under the new Trump standard, why wasn't Obama impeached? In Trump's case, the Democrats accuse him of winning the election by colluding with Russia to win. After nearly a year of investigation, there does not appear to be any evidence. Yet many Democrats have already called for impeachment. In truth, Democrats want this president out because they don't like him or his policies. One of Trump's major campaign promises was to build a wall to protect our southern border. Never mind that in 2006, 26 Democrat senators, including Hillary Clinton, then Senator Barack Obama, and Chuck Schumer, voted for hundreds of miles of barriers and fencing. And every Senate Democrat voted for 2013's Border Security, Economic Opportunity, and Immigration Modernization Act, which again called for hundreds of miles of barriers. But Trump is racist and xenophobic. Representative Al Green, Democrat of Texas, who is a flaming moron, calls Trump a bigot in the White House who incites hatred and hostility, which says Green is a high misdemeanor and constitutes an impeachable offense. Al Green. You know, his brain is about this big. Well, what does that say for the people who elected him? He's just got this agonized face on him all the time, Al Green. God almighty. Help us. Please help us in the name of the Lord Jesus. Unless, of course, you're just having a joke with us. In which case, that's pretty funny, Lord. It really is. I mean, I'm sure Al's a good guy. Give him a hug. Here, Al, have a cigarette. Here, I'll light you. Here's a soda pop. And here's a smile. And get out of government. Crazy. Then Senator Barack Obama, who called the Iraq War dumb, not only opposed Bush's surge, but also predicted it would make things worse. I'm not persuaded that 20,000 additional troops in Iraq is going to solve the sectarian violence there. In fact, I think it'll do the reverse, so I'm going to actively oppose the president's proposal. But the surge did work. And there's really no point in pursuing this because I'm waiting. I've been waiting for a long time for a Democrat, any Democrat, to come up with a good idea. They just don't. Oh, and they're afraid of losing a congressional seat over a proposed census change on citizenship. Yeah, if you're not a citizen, you don't get to vote. Why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult for people to understand if you're not a citizen of the country, you don't get to vote in how its affairs are conducted? Oh, that's just not fair. That's racist, and that's xenophobic and anachrophobic and everything. And you probably don't like puppies, and I think it's time for everybody to grow up, particularly on the left. You may have had some fun, you know, being all bucky, iconoclastic types, but this has just reached a point that it's completely stupid. It really is. And so there you have it. Now there's a nice news section. We're going to talk with an Englishman. He is Francis. Yes, where is he? Where is he? There he is. Yeah, Francis Connolly, Francis Richard Connolly. And, you know, he's doing his best to punch a hole in the screen that stands between the people he can reach and actual truth and reality. By all accounts, he's a good guy. He's a writer and quite the squash guy. I don't mean the food. I mean the game. So we'll talk with him for a while and get a Brit's point of view on what's going on over there. It's in several regards. We're eventually going to have to talk about the Muslim invasion of the UK. You cannot believe how many mayors of how many cities You may not be all that familiar with Britain, but you'll recognize the names of some of these cities. They've all got Muslim mayors. They got Sharia courts and Sharia councils and thousands of mosques and all this. It's nuts, and it's nothing but an attempt to reconquer the European continent, just like back in the day. And if these liberals, they call themselves that, they're anything but if these leftists, these socialists, these communists, these people are so perverse in their thinking that they are willing to sacrifice their own lives so that you can't live in a country the way you want it to be, in a country that's run the way you want it to be run. They're literally willing to sacrifice themselves to the commie god to see to it that you don't have a republic, to see to it that you have you don't have national sovereignty. Everything is free. And by the time all the free stuff is paid for, nobody has anything. In socialist countries in Europe, 60%, can you imagine 60% of the money that you earn going to tax? And I'll make it a point of reading some stats of all the Muslim women who don't work, who are on subsidies, by way of percentage, and the percentage of Muslim men over there who also don't work but are living on state-furnished benefits. And one more time, who pays for those? Well, the ones who are being displaced, beaten, and raped, and killed, and disfigured. Those are the people who are paying for these scumbags to be in the UK. If it makes sense to you, let me know, because it makes no sense whatsoever to me, but we'll explore it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, again, thank you very much for watching, and we would be very happy if you would consider supporting us, really, because Caravan to Midnight Caravanners are the ones that make this program possible, and they do every day. We thank them for it. We'd like to be able to thank you for supporting us too. So what are you waiting for?